No Man's Sky Expeditions has been out for about a year now, and in that time, we've gotten 6 different expeditions that we could run. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about a lot of mistakes I see people making with expeditions. So first off, let's talk about expedition mode. If you're new to the game, this could definitely be confusing. So what are expeditions? Expeditions are seasonal game modes, I guess you would say. They've all lasted a little bit different times, but like the first they've lasted anywhere between 2 weeks and about 6 weeks, I would say. This most recent one is live for 6 weeks. So expeditions really are going to test your knowledge of No Man's Sky. So if you are brand new to the game, you might find these really tough because you're not gonna you won't know what a lot of the things are that they're even talking about or how to do them. Now, these things that are usually that they want us to do in expeditions are things from the regular game that most of us are people who've been playing for, many hours like me have already done. So we know how to do them, so we can kind of get through these quick. But if you're brand new to the game, you might not want to start off with an expedition. I mean, you definitely can if you feel free to, because you will get a little bit better start once the expedition ends. And when that happens, it just turns into a normal game save, the expedition. And then you can just do the stuff from normal mode, like, the main story missions and things like that. And you'll have a little bit better start because you did the expedition, which gives rewards a lot quicker than you're going to get if you start in normal mode. But there's not always an expedition, so I suggest starting in normal mode, honestly, because that's what's going to teach you the most about the game. Okay, now another mistake a lot of people do is in the expedition, they don't look ahead at the steps that are going to be coming. They just maybe look at phase 1 and say, okay, I'm going to do phase 1 in order. But I always suggest looking ahead to see, what you got coming up next and to see if there's anything, because a lot of times these can overlap. So you can, maybe bang out 2 or 3 at once at the same time, So it's always good to look ahead in the expedition and see what you may have coming up. Now, the next one is probably one of the biggest mistakes I see people making, and it's kind of an obvious one, but people are not reading the instructions. So in expeditions, whatever milestone you're working on, you always want to have that selected. And then on the bottom right of your screen, it's gonna show you what you need to do. But it pops up other things like exosuit guidance message, for example. So that can kind of confuse you sometime. But if you it'll see what it says there: locate the distress freighter and aid in its defense, liberation. It's telling you exactly what you need to do. So this one is one that messed a lot of people up, because if you didn't do this part after you fought the pirates and land on the freighter and talk to the captain, you couldn't get the first map piece. And there was no way to go back and get it. Now, I believe this has been fixed now in the game, but that was a huge mistake a lot of people made this time around, is they did not go up and speak to the captain and get the map fragment. So it's very important that you look at your log and see, what it's telling you to do, because it does pretty much guide you through it. I just think a lot of people maybe don't even notice, and sometimes the log can be buggy, and it will just kind of switch to a different mission on you. So you got to kind of be on top of it. Like I said, and whatever milestone you're working on, you always want to have that selected, and keep checking your log and make sure it's on the right mission, so you don't get thrown way off the path or anything, which is another mistake a lot of players make, is they they get in expedition mode and they go off exploring just kind of randomly and get off the expedition path. You don't want to do that because it can be really hard to get back. So my advice is, you follow the expedition path. Now, that doesn't mean you need to do every milestone in order, but stick to the expedition path in the galaxy map so you don't end up way out in the middle of nowhere. Another huge tip for expeditions, and this will go for, these tips are pretty much for all of them for the most part. When you get to a rendezvous system, make sure you go to the space station, because you can later use the portals from other space stations to port back to space stations you were previously in. So it's a good way to backtrack. You can also throw base computers down on rendezvous planets so you can get back if you need to. Because many of us who make guides and stuff, if we're trying to show you how to do something in an expedition, a lot of times we're going to have to use the rendezvous point as like a marker. So we'll say something along the lines like, okay, start at rendezvous 2 and then you're going to go to this place. But if you don't know where rendezvous 2 is, or you pass that point and you don't know how to get back there, it can be really difficult to get back. So in this guide I made for everybody, I tried to at every rendezvous point show you the name of the system and the name of the planet, and also the portal glyphs in case you needed to portal back there. So this is the guide right here. As you can see, there's chapters for each thing you have to do in the game where I show you how to do it. So this can help you out too. This goes in the order I think you should do things. You can change it up a little bit if you need to. But yeah, so the biggest mistakes I see players making is for expeditions. Some players are not ready for an expedition because they're brand new to the game and they're not going to know how to do a lot of the stuff it's going to ask them to do, and it could take you a long time and you might not even finish. That's one. But again, does that mean you shouldn't play the expedition? Give it a try if you want and see how it goes for you. But if you're finding it like impossible, it's probably too soon for you, and I would say stick to normal mode for a while. Don't go off the path too much. You don't want to stray off the expedition path. Try not to get ahead of yourself and just go off exploring random systems off the expedition path. Make sure you read the log. That's my number one, guys. I mean, I've watched on streams. I've had people ask me questions. A lot of them actually since I made this video, and from my live streams, a lot of questions. And almost all of those issues that I've been asked, except for things that are like bugs, could have been resolved had the person just read the instructions of what they were supposed to do at that point. So I think sometimes people, get carried away with knocking out the milestone, but they're not really reading what they're supposed to do or what they're supposed to do next. And then that's gonna hurt you later down the line when you're like, wait, I don't have map fragment 1. So, that's just an example for this one. But like I said, all expeditions are different, but they all kind of follow the same thing where you're gonna need to do a bunch of different things. And depending on how much time you have in the game, that's gonna determine how easy or difficult these are for you. Some people, this maybe took them a week. Me, it took 4.5 hours while I was recording and making a video. So it can be done even quicker. I believe Zane did it in an hour and a half. That doesn't mean you should try and rush either. Take your time, enjoy it. They're fun. They're definitely fun. But I just wanted to talk about some of the big mistakes. The log is a huge one. People not reading the log and not reading what they need to do next. So see here, I'm looking ahead. I'm looking to see what we can maybe do at the same time. This expedition, Expedition 6, actually going in order of phases pretty much works well for this one. That's not the case with all expeditions. Anyway, I just want to tell you guys some mistakes I've noticed people making. If you're just starting the expedition, maybe knowing about those in advance will help you out. If you do need help with the expedition, I did make this guide, link below, where you can just, it's got all the chapters here for each of the milestones you need to do, so you can kind of just click on it and see how I did it. Especially if the these sunken ruins, not a lot of people have ever experienced these. I have, but so this could help you out if you've never done stuff like that. But going through the galactic core, if you've never done it before, is a little bit confusing. So that's where this guide really comes in handy. But anyway, I hope that helps somebody out there. I hope you're all enjoying Expedition 6, and I hope these tips help you in future expeditions as well. Thank you so much for watching. I am Xxiou from Xxiou Games. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. It all helps. Come to my live streams, and I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.